All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the delay, but we are here. We are ready for week two, game one. We have Boosted Gorilla Monkeys versus Slapnut Magoos. My name is Joystick. With me, we have Theatrics and Growlywog, who is a new caster with us joining us. So thank you so much for being here, Sam. We appreciate it. We are just about ready to get into Champ Select here. We're moving right along. And I believe we are ready to go, in fact. Hope everyone's having a great night tonight. This is the final game of week two here, so we're really excited. Um, Theatrics, I'm going to throw it to you. Give me your take on how you think this matchup's going to go.
Well, last week the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys looked pretty strong. They showed really well. Obviously, you've got Gerg7, Greg anchoring them in the mid lane there. He likes to play a lot of high damage mid laners. Always something to look out for. And over on the side of Slapping Up Magoos, we've got Front Lash. They had a really nice contested game. He obviously showed off his shot calling and his lane and wave manipulation pretty well. I think the key matchup to watch in this game is going to be seeing whether or not the junglers, Guy Fieri and Fish Baby Bot, are able to properly enable their top lane. In the case of Guy Fieri, whether or not he's going to be able to put Front Lash in a position that he can just take the game away. And in the case of Fish Baby Bot, whether or not he's going to be able to stop Front Lash from dominating Jimmy, because as nice a guy as Jimmy is, Front Lash is definitely a mismatch for him in that lane. So it's going to be interesting to see. There's probably going to be a lot of interesting pathing we're going to have to look out for. And I'm expecting to see Gerg7 draft something that has a little bit of range or something that he can probably roam up toward top lane with to try and help out his top laner. But on the bot side, we actually have a really interesting matchup. Piper is currently holding the second highest KDA in the split, as far as I know. I think he only gave up a death in the entirety of the games that they had previously played. Very safe ADC. He's playing well, dishing out as much damage as he possibly can without making too many mistakes. On the side of Slapnut Magoos, we've got Family Man, and he is a Draven main. He also plays Jinx very well. It's going to be fun to see, because I think that Family Man might be a little bit more inclined to play aggressively than Piper would. So we're going to have to see how Alistar Moody and definitely not Sal are able to help enable their ADCs to get toward their goal. It's going to be a fun matchup.
By the way, we are in Champ Select right now for those of you who are following at home. That third ban, for some reason, the draft tool messed up, but that is a Shen ban, that third ban right there. So we have a Misfortune pick coming out and a Zoe pick getting locked in on the side of BGM.
Oh, that is for Greg. Greg has been saying that he wanted desperately to be the first PMA LCS Zoe, and he's been practicing it a lot. He's very strong on that champion, so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him pull that out.
Yeah, hopefully you guys have done some research on Zoe. I've watched the spotlight. I've seen it played a couple of times, but we're going to just be using a lot of improvisational lines like, look at Zoe bouncing around doing things.
I mean, Zoe will be interesting. I just want to hit real quick on the Shin ban. Shin ban's actually a pretty good ban as well. BGM started the first week 2-0, and both games they had Shin on their side. So Jimmy's already kind of, like you said, in a bad matchup. Taking away a comfort pick, it definitely looks like they're going after him. The Zoe, we'll see if maybe they can pull that trick out, throw him for a little bit of a loop or a curveball on SNM and see how they adapt to it. But it's a new champ for everybody. We'll see if they can use it to good effect or if it just kind of ends up being a little bit of cheese.
And like you said, Theatrics, we do have that Draven getting locked on the side of SNM. So
yeah, it's a huge comfort pick for Family Man. Joe over there, he's very comfortable on it, very confident. You already see with their team comp what they're kind of trying to pull out here. I haven't seen much of Simply Phenomenal playing Xerath, but having a Draven and a Xerath already screams long range damage. So it looks like they're going to try to play this a little safe. It's going to be very interesting, though, to see how the Zoe plays around it, because a champion like Xerath could be very easily exploited by the high mobility that Zoe can provide, especially if she can land any kind of sleep.
Oh yeah.
Onto him.
And with the cooldowns on Zoe, I mean, she's very much a control mage, skill shot base, and she has great cooldowns. It's going to be a mobility game in the mid lane. You're going to have to be dodging a lot of skill shots, and if you get hit with her sleepy time ability, it's going to be a world of pain for Xerath. It's one shot and out, probably.
Yeah, that's something interesting to look at too, as we see an Aurelion Soul coming in.
Locked in?
Is that a Top lane? Oh, that might be top lane. I believe that's front lash on Aurelion Sol in top lane. I was going to say, it's kind of interesting to me and maybe questionable that Slapnut Magoo's, being that front lash is their highest ranked player and their captain, would opt to have their mid laner pick first and show everybody what they were choosing and go ahead and get their support and ADC locked in. Maybe that's a choice because front lash has more flexibility, he thinks, and he doesn't have to worry about it. But I would think that they would try to prioritize his matchup over others because that's definitely where the win is going to funnel through if they intend to push this game in that direction. So
yeah,
it's interesting pick ban strategy. And I'm not sure, like you said, Zoe is a new champion, but just from thinking about the style of play, I'm pretty sure Zoe pretty hard counters Xerath. It's going to be really hard to land skill shots on a Zoe with the Xerath.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure if maybe the Aurelion Sol pick is trying to match the roam potential of Zoe. Zoe's definitely going to be the type of champion that is going to shove wave as fast as possible, see if she can't pop into a bottom lane or top lane real quick to cause some trouble and then get back to lane. I'm not huge on roaming top lanes of that type, but it can work. And more so to the point, Front Lash definitely did well in week 1. Slapnut went 1-1. In the game they won, he was playing Poppy, I think, so fairly tanky character. And then he played Fiora to some success. So I think the tank pick's probably good. It's a nice comfort pick. Allows him to get in there, still do some damage with Aurelion Sol, but at the same time, be a little bit more durable.
Now, looking at these compositions, though, obviously the Misfortune is a really strong pick in AD carry right now. It dishes out a lot of damage, really synergizes well with the new runes. The Zoe has a lot of great poke potential, great roam potential. The Kha'Zix, obviously, past 15 minutes is going to become a huge threat. Maokai is great for engage or disengage. Taric is a great tank to protect your Misfortune with. Boosted Gorilla Monkey's comp makes sense to me in most ways. Slapnut Magoo's, for the first 3 picks, it seemed like they could be going towards something like a heavy wave clear comp or something that's able to siege a little bit better. But the Aurelion Sol top and the Gragas pick, what do you guys make of these in terms of rounding out that composition? Because as far as I can see, I don't really understand what the overarching strategy that they're trying to accomplish is yet.
Yeah, as far as the Gragas pick, if you throw him in the jungle, I mean, he has been a staple of the jungle. He's consistently strong. He's able to get in there, cause a lot of problems. But the reason you really pick Gragas is going to be for the ultimate. You're going to want to try to separate people out and cause problems. You don't have a lot of great targets, though.
Whoa. We have a Lissandra getting locked in lobby. Hold on. What is this?
Is that a mistake? Did we miss something about the pick ban tool?
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so it's possible that the players on Slapnut Magoo's accidentally locked in Aurelion Sol in the pro draft, but intended to lock something else in, and it seems as though that might have been Lissandra. I hope that that's what happened, and there isn't some kind of...
That actually makes a huge difference as well.
It does. It definitely does. I still question whether or not this comp has enough innate tankiness to protect those AP burst mages that they've got on the team, but it does make a little more sense now. They obviously have more wave clear. If Front Lash gets an early lead, it could be trouble, but Maokai is pretty dense. It's going to be hard to get through that.
It almost seems like more of a pick to me. That was kind of a response to this Kha'Zix. I think Front Lash may be worried about Fish Baby getting in on his team. I mean, being able to just kind of panic react with that ultimate is going to be pretty strong if it's used to good effect. It can also have some problems associated with it, but definitely a way to stop an assassin from getting into your back line.
Very true. Interesting to see here. It looks like Gurk7 is opting for the cleanse. Obviously showing a lot of respect for the amount of CC that comes on the side of Slapnut Magoo's, but possibly a little too much respect, being that Zoe is able to pick up summoner spells the way that she is. Maybe if I were in his situation, I might possibly opt for a double teleport there with top and mid both having it, so that they have a little bit more potential to collapse on people. but
All right, so
he might know something.
interrupting real quick. This, ladies and gentlemen, is our final lock-in here. We do have a Lissandra in the top lane, so it turns out they clicked Lissandra, and Pro Draft decided to lock in Aurelion Sol anyway. So, but they got it sorted out with the commissioner and with the opposing team, and all is good. We do have the Lissandra in the top lane.
Okay, and that makes sense. That's what I was thinking, because Aurelion Sol, I think, is pretty high up in, not first name, but pretty high up there. So it makes sense that I'd just draft a random A name. At any rate, though, getting into the matchup, I think, like it was said earlier, the jungle is going to be pretty important. Seeing how it goes in these first couple of clears is really going to kind of set up the map, especially Slapnut Magoos looks like they're favoring their bottom lane. I mean, they have a pretty aggressive bottom lane setup. Draven Braum, if you get Gragas down there for a couple of ganks, really set up to control and dominate the lane. Whereas on the other end, BGM, I think their team may end up scaling a little bit better. Maokai's a great in-game tank. He'll be able to take control of fights and really lock them down. Zoe seems like she's just going to get better and better as time goes and she gets more items. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in these first couple of rotations.
All right, so I have a question to pose to you guys here. So what is your take on, and we've seen, especially from my opinion in the Pooh game last night, what is your opinion on comfort picks versus picking for the comp, picking for the meta? In regards to this 5 versus 5 organized situation regarding the PMA LCS.
Well, I think you have to take a step back there and look at the fact that it's preseason. I had a good conversation with Bear Jr. off of Pooh about the fact that, especially in preseason, it's super important to play meta champions because they're meta for a reason. They're exploiting the things about the preseason that are overtuned or working in a way that is just super advantageous. So as much as later in the season, as things get more balanced out, it might be better to kind of rely on your comfort picks, things that you have a lot of mastery on. Right now, it doesn't seem like it's a bad idea. And if you look at the results throughout the standings, we could actually pull up a statistic through the middle of the stream. I'll be looking into it. But I'm pretty sure most of the teams that have eked out wins have been using most of the overpowered things that are happening right now in this preseason. So to what you said, comfort is a factor. But when you have teams that are at such a disparity in terms of skill level, so many different types of players, I think that it's important to try to utilize what's strongest in the meta right now to get your early advantages, because there are certain runes that are strong and there are certain champs that utilize them really well. As I indicated earlier, the Misfortune is a really clear one. Kha'Zix actually might be. I'm waiting to see. I think he might be running Predator. If he is, then that's a really, really solid pick as well. So, yeah, I think that that's the direction that teams should be taking it. However, if they have a lot of confidence in their macro gameplay and their shot calling, then obviously any type of comp could work. But I think that it's probably smartest while things are out of balance to pick the things that seem the strongest right now.
All right, yeah, so right now we're going to go into our lineups here. On the side of Boosted Gorilla Monkeys, we have Big Diok Jimmy on the Maokai in the top lane. We have Fish Baby Bot on the Kha'Zix. We have Gurg7 on Zoe in the mid lane. Piper is on the Misfortune in the bot lane. Alistar Moody on Taric to round out that composition. On the side of SNM, we have Lissandra in the top lane from Frontlash. Guy Fieri rocking the Gragas, who we do have to note is a sub for them today. Simply Phenomenal on Xerath. Family Man 96 on the Draven, and accompanying him to the bot lane is definitely not Sal on the Braum. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get into Week 2, Game 1 of BGM versus SNM. It's going to be a good one, folks. We are just getting rid of the spectator delay, and we'll be in the game momentarily. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Make sure you guys hit that link up, get on Facebook, share it. We want to get as many viewers out today as we possibly can. So here we go. We're going to see if the spaghetti code is going to launch us into the game. But so
you know what?
Go ahead.
Early on, really quickly, I just want to highlight, since you did mention it, Guy Fieri is a sub. He is on We Are a Rhino, which is Violet Sociocat's team. It's going to be interesting to see. Guy Fieri has been jungling in ranked and normals for a while now, but this is the first time that he has been jungling for a split. He played top lane mostly. It's going to be interesting to see how he functions without that really, really key strong shot caller in Violet Sociocat that kind of anchors that We Are a Rhino team, and see if maybe he has picked up some strategies from being on her team and is able to translate that over to Slapnut Magoos and help them out.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does make a big difference. You can take a strong player, and on their own, that's a good thing to have on the team. But a strong shot caller definitely makes or breaks a team. It's pretty significant. We'll see if that carries over into this game, if he's able to kind of fend for himself, or if the team that he's playing for, that he's subbing in for, has a good enough shot caller that will be able to fill in that gap.
Oh,
Right now,
okay. Suddenly we just jumped in to the middle of them posturing in lane. Okay.
What are you seeing?
I'm already a minute into the game right now, apparently.
Oh, yeah,
Minions are
that's all right.
spawning.
yeah, nothing too much, just standard kind of lines of scrimmage being set up here. I'm interested to see what all champions are going to want to try to run that Ghost Poro. In my opinion, it's one of the stronger runes that you can take for early vision control. Maybe not as great later on in the game, but with the ability to really track where your junglers are going to be going on the enemy team. Someone like Kha'Zix, who's going to want to get in there for an early kill and has a lot of threat early on at a level 3 gank. You know, the ability to just put that free ward out and have it wait there infinitely, basically. I'm surprised that nobody's using it yet.
Now, the Kha'Zix did opt for Electrocute instead of Predator, so he's going to have more burst damage, but the early ganking is not going to be as potent as it could be. And really quickly, I want to go ahead and shout out Fudgy Ditters. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate it, buddy. You're the bomb.
Right.
We do have an engage happening a little bit in the bottom lane. Draven using that early game damage to get some damage up, but he's down to less than 2 bars of health. He's going to try to get out. Tarek is chasing him down, flashes forward. Draven uses the heal to get forward, and they're going to get now the stun out onto Tarek, who's going to try to retreat, and they're going to turn this around on him, possibly using that heal. They still have it down in the bot lane. The stun comes out. They both dodge it, and they're going to go back to farming. Really intense fight happening at level 1 on bot lane.
Although it looks as though the side of Boosted Gorilla Monkeys lost that trade with health, Piper still has both of his summoners, and Draven already used his heal and Braum used exhaust. So although Alistar Moody had to use both of his AD carry is in plenty of a fine situation to save themselves right now. So this is going to be interesting to see how junglers deal with that information, knowing that there are a couple of key summoners down here.
Yeah, Alistar is going to have to continue to try to play that delicate balance of putting enough pressure forward so that Misfortune's not getting pushed off of creeps by Draven, but without any summoners, definitely in a risky place because they can collapse on him pretty hard if Gragas is able to get in.
Draven just getting super low here, and you want to keep an eye on that. Braum using the Q just to try to tell Piper to get back. Tarek comes forward with a stun. They're not going to go for it. But
yeah, this lane
this
setup.
Draven really playing aggressively here with that low health bar.
The lane setup right now actually favors Misfortune pretty hard because Draven's going to have to try to sit back. He's afraid of Misfortune poking, but I mean, her double up, that's what it's built for, is someone who's trying to sit back and stay behind either a Braum or minions. Braum's going to have to be really good about that wall.
Now, early on, the top lane matchup is going pretty much as we predicted with Lissandra's range. She is keeping Jimmy at a pace that she's able to dictate. She's keeping him at low health and staying pretty healthy herself, and manipulating that wave pretty well so that jungle pressure is not too much of a worry. So let's keep watching how that CS lead grows and see if Frontlash isn't able to translate that to a teleport play somewhere.
Absolutely. Interestingly enough, the Maokai chose to take that free stopwatch to start the game. It's not a bad mastery just for...
We do have a great gank coming in. Tarek W's forward under the minion, uses a Q, misses it. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I got really excited. But instead
just a little bit lane pressure.
Kha'Zix showing up possibly for a counter gank here.
Yeah, and that's the risky part about showing up just for that kind of early lane pressure, just to back them off. I think that the Draven's feeling the pressure from this Misfortune, so they bring Gragas down for a little bit of backup, but now Kha'Zix has a lot of information, and they can really play around that however they want.
Now, I don't agree right now with Fish Baby Bot taking Krugs here. Krugs is a disastrous camp for a Kha'Zix early to try and take. It takes so much time, and it takes all your health away. He's already sitting on 1k gold without it. I think he could have just backed and saved himself the time and maybe started pathing toward top lane. But here we see a Gragas gank bot, and because Kha'Zix is taking these Krugs, he's too low to actually create a counter gank.
Yeah, he's
he
putting
was
himself
pretty
in a
much
weird
full health.
position.
Yeah, he was full health before he started those Krugs, and now he has to go back.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to just go back to shop. Maybe you're not getting as much gold as you could have, but you know, like you said, what are you really going to do if you're 1/3 health Kha'Zix and they have a Draven lane that's going in on a gank? You know, if they don't secure that Draven kill very early, it's a very easy kill for him.
Especially, it's about understanding too what your jungler is really able to do in their pathing. Like I said, a champion like Kha'Zix really wants to do the quickest clear possible, so that's going to be hitting your first buff, Wolves, and then your second buff and trying to make a gank somewhere. You probably want to ignore your Krugs until you have at least your full jungle item, your full warrior enchant, because you want to keep the health of those low. Every time you kill them, obviously, they gain a level and they gain health, so you want to keep those low for the time that you actually need the gold and you have the speed to take it down efficiently.
Yeah. So early on, we're seeing... Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was actually just looking at the 20 farm lead that the front lash already has on his opponent there.
And that's the scary thing is, you know, that's what I wanted to see early on is some more jungle pressure. I mean, showing up to a lane and just kind of saying, hey, how's it going? It's your buddy Guy Fieri here. That's not bad, but it's very much so favoring this. Lissandra's going to become a problem. You can see she's already working. She's got that catalyst. Probably going to, you know, get... I don't know, you could go either way. Roa seems strong. You're going against a tank. Just may as well build up your tankiness. Start scaling for that mid-game.
And see, Lissandra has decided intelligently not to use the teleport. Instead, she's going to roam down here bot to see if they can make a play. Even if they can't get kills, they're probably going to stay and take this first dragon for themselves.
Stop the back. We do have an engage coming in from Braum. He gets the double stun out of the Taric. They're going to keep going, but they're going to try to get those stun procs out on the Taric. Gragas is coming. He's late. Lissandra's late too. They suspect something is up. They're both backing off as much as they can. Alistar Moody is probably going to be forced to use Flash here and Exhaust, but maybe not. He's going to get stunned up, blown up here. They get the first blood on to Lissandra. Excellent roam there.
Yeah, that's actually pretty bad if you look at it. BGM really doesn't want Lissandra getting any bigger than she already is. Like you said, she had a 20 CS lead earlier, has dropped by 10 CS from that roam. Not that bad when you consider she picked up first blood as well. Draven's going to be able to farm now pretty safely, get more stacks, and it's really setting up for a strong power play in mid-game.
Yeah, right now, 7 minutes, 50 seconds in. Slapnut Magoos are ahead by
Braum jumping in, trying to get the
gold.
stun out. Oh, and that's the flash out of Piper. Yeah, they're gonna take advantage of that, the absence of that support there, really try to get on that misfortune.
Looks like they're going for this first dragon here.
Yeah, and this
The
is where
Kha'Zix
that
is going to look for a
happening.
steal, but he doesn't... Oh, he does have vision.
He will most assuredly die if he does, but they do have...
He steals
And
it.
he gets it! He jumps in and steals it! Incredible play from Fish Baby Bot. That's going to be really helpful for them. The Ocean Drake, sure, could have been a better Drake, but still, stealing that dragon from them, wasting their time, excellent play.
Ocean Drake with a Taric and a Maokai is going to really help out there. That passive regen along with the healing that they're already able to use. It could be pretty helpful as time goes on.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that they were snowballing so well off of that play from bottom. Slapnut was building a good advantage, but they had put everybody there at that dragon, and one person, Fish Baby, getting a really great smite off. Funny enough, that ward in the dragon pit, this is the second time I've seen somebody kind of skirt around a pink ward. That pink ward vision placement's very, very crucial when you're trying to take out any kind of a neutral objective, because you don't want it to come down to that smite fight.
Yeah, very important that you put that pink ward closer to the center of the pit, but just far enough away that somebody couldn't start killing it over the wall. You don't want to be in a situation where you're not clearing the entire pit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me go back and check. You may have placed the ward early and Dragon knock it back. I don't think it does it for Dragon, though, does it? Just Baron.
And we do have Maokai coming down for a gank. Oh, and that's just a flash, precautionary flash from the Xerath right there. He doesn't even want to try to mess with that.
Yeah, probably a good decision by Simply Phenomenal there. Just risking the, is it Arcane Advance or Twisted Advance by...
Twisted Advance, yeah.
Yeah, just risking the Twisted Advance by the Maokai, knowing that Zoe Sleep Bubble could follow it up, and that would surely be a kill.
Oh, yeah. The crowd control chain from this top to mid lane is, I mean, it's death. Alright, we've got some buff
happening
transfers.
in bot lane, but it looks like they're just kind of doing a simple trade here. We do have a teleport coming in. The Maokai's teleporting in, but oh, they're going to back off seeing that teleport. Questionable call.
Yeah, just a little bit early on the teleport, got a little too excited. Didn't really have the positioning. You gotta go for those deep wards on the brush, and the other team really has to be committed to a play. Alright, we see some of the items coming out here. It looks like Slapnut.
Are they going to do the dive? That Misfortunal comes out. Maokai's going in on this tower. He's going to flash forward, twisted advance onto the Draven, ignoring everyone. He's going to knock them both back. They're diving the tower right now. Tarek uses his ult to get the invulnerability out. They do get the kill on the Braum. Well, I guess the teleport was worth it at this point.
Yeah, and up top it looks like Boosted Gorilla Monkey is taking control as well. Slapnut was trying to make a play for that Rift Herald, but they're punished for it. They're not able to get it. It's the second time.
Oh. Sandra dives in, using the snare onto the Kha'Zix, but he dies for it. Getting sniped out by Zoe in the back lane. Xerath uses the ult to try to finish him off, but it's just not going to be enough. Now Zoe is looking for some plays on this Xerath, who's very low on mana. Dodges the stun. We do have a fight happening in this Baron pit right now. Zoe, massive damage out onto the Xerath. He's really, really nervous. He doesn't have that flash. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? He's gotta try to get out, and they're just gonna let him go? Fishy bot possibly jumping over the wall.
Was Gurg7 not feeding the information to Fish Baby Bot that Xerath was in fact inside that pit? Because it seems as though he had no idea, but yeah, that seems like a strange miscommunication.
I'm a little surprised by that with how well Fish Baby's been doing. I mean, secured the dragon, secures the Rift Herald for the team, gets a couple of kills, and then an easy kill that's kind of gifted to them and just lets it slide out.
Yeah, as silly as it is, I think it might just have come down to the fact that, you know, every player sometimes gets caught not looking at the minimap as closely as they should be when they're going through their motions. Maybe he was just focusing somewhere else.
While we were following that interesting play, we did have the bottom tower fall. So the first tower blood does go in favor of BGM here.
Yeah, and a big swing of gold pressure towards BGM now. Good job of reversing that early play in bottom lane.
We do have a big fight coming in here. Lissandra's going to use the ultimate on herself, trying to save herself a little bit. The Xerath is just doing huge damage out. We do have another fight happening in bot lane. Maokai just throws him away. They're going to keep going. Maybe not. So we do have one person falling on the side of BGM. Zoe's looking to possibly turn this around. Gets the sleep onto the Gragas.
That's multiple times now that Gurg has just underestimated the range of the Battlestar. I think that I've been using that skin as well on the champion, and the indicator is a little difficult to tell where the edge of it is. You have to kind of err on the side of you're too far away.
We have a tower dive coming in bot lane. Maokai using Braum, actually tanking too many tower shots, gets killed on the attempted tower dive, and Draven is left all by himself.
Big Dick Jimmy showing you why he got his name. Really taking care of that too.
Kha'Zix though is ready to jump in. What's he gonna do though? He's gonna just try to recall on this bush. He can't do it though. Kha'Zix got him isolated. He's gonna get the kill easily onto the Draven.
And this is the problem.
Another play possibly coming in. Oh.
Yeah, Team
Front Lash gonna be diving in possibly onto Jimmy here, getting the snare onto him. Gragas about to possibly get. Nope, he does it to the minions.
Yeah, that's not a fight that they want to take against a Kha'Zix
body slam.
I mean, Slapnut, they're really feeling the pressure here. They drafted an early game team. They're trying to make plays, but as you've seen, you take a Draven and a Braum trying to tower dive a Maokai who's been sitting top lane comfortably farming up to this point, still has the stopwatch, hasn't even been used yet. I mean, it's a very greedy dive at best.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, though? Right now, this would be the best time for Fish Baby John to take those Krugs. He deserves it.
Or his red buff, or anything else.
Any of his bot side jungle, since this dragon is about to spawn and he wants to hit level 9 ASAP so he can have max rank Q.
They're handing the blue buff over to the Draven, interestingly enough.
This is an important dragon, too, because this Infernal Drake, I mean, it could swing both ways. It's going to either help that Kha'Zix be able to...
We have the Rift Herald being used in mid lane. They're going to go for this tower. Meanwhile,
very smart play.
SNM is basically forced to go and try to get it from them, but they're going to take this tower anyway. Now they don't even have a dragon. They don't have the tower.
Yeah, I think SNM got a little spooked there by the Rift Herald going down mid. It probably would have been smarter for them to opt to take that Infernal Drake for themselves. An Infernal Drake on a team that has a Kha'Zix is not going to be good.
That pink ward will actually catch both these wards now, so that's good. Gives them a little bit of time. Zoe's just kind of zoning out all of the enemies, which is great. It's what she wants to do anyways. And an easy secure for Slapnut, or I'm sorry, BGM.
And it looks like they're looking for the engage here from BGM. but they're not quite going to get it. But you know what? At least it was a smart play from the side of Simply Phenomenal to at least push that tower down top for the Xerath. So they got a little something out of that.
All right, looks like we're just kind of resetting the map now. BGM's going to go ahead back, spend some of the gold that they've been accruing. And they're looking like they're in a pretty good position to start really controlling this middle game as the teams get together for team fights. Interesting enough, this Maokai too took the free boots mastery, so really just kind of waiting for that middle game, willing to sacrifice the early game, and it has completely made up that CS deficit as well from front lash. So this is where it starts to get scary a little bit if you are on Slapnut, because again, they have their early pressure, but the longer this game goes and the more that BGM's allowed to scale into it, get items onto their important carries, it's going to start causing a lot of problems.
The most frustrating thing too for Slapnut Magoos must be that, and I don't know if they're really factoring this in yet, Boosted Gorilla Monkeys have this lead right now, not only coming from behind with it, but with so many little mistakes that have already been made. So many missed cues by the Zoes, so many times that they could have gotten a kill onto the Xerath, you know, things like that, that they're getting away with, but they're still eking out a little gold lead. If Slapnut Magoos don't reevaluate their game plan here soon, then they might be looking at a deficit that they can't come out of.
Yeah, and they're built, I mean, BGM is built to handle a couple of mistakes pretty easily. You have Tarek, who, assuming they get a good Gragas ultimate off or a good Lissandra ultimate, Tarek can just completely reset the fight, throwing out a good ultimate, and they buy a couple of seconds to really rearrange, do what they need to do. I don't know if Gragas is using his ultimate to engage. They don't really have anything like that. Maybe Brahm's ultimate, Glacial Fissure, to try to disengage, but they don't have a lot of strong disengage tools.
Well, the only person that they really want to get that Gragas ult onto right now is...
We do have an ult coming down from Maokai. He's going to try to engage onto the... That's a flash out of the Xerath. The Maokai ult ends. They're going to stun up the Braum. It's going to take the full front of that bullet time. Maokai's going to dive in, knock the Braum back. Maokai's a little too deep, though. He's going to get Braum ulted, and they're going to take him out. They're just layering the damage onto the Maokai, and that actually backfires on them. Jimmy winds up dead.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a premature bullet time there from Piper on Misfortune. If he would have waited to get a little bit closer to the fight, as the Terror ult came down, maybe they could have pulled something off there, but the Slapnut Magoos just disengaged well. They peeled back, and they did what their comp is actually meant to do. So, you know, maybe these guys aren't out of it just yet.
Yeah, and you want to talk about high priority for an ability usage. That Unbreakable, the ability to stop Zoe's poke from coming in, and completely ate half of that Misfortune ultimate. You know, bullet time's not getting through, Zoe's not getting through. The only threat that SNM is going to feel is going to be if Kha'Zix is in there, and he was not trying to dive into that.
So now the big thing that's going to come out here is what we talked about when we were looking at the Champ Select pregame. Slapnut Magoos, words, wow, this name is so hard. Slapnut Magoos.
Really, really hard.
Yeah, Slapnut Magoos is a very strong wave clear team, and so they do have the siege potential. If they can wait it out. I know you said that they have an early game comp. I see that in the bot lane with the Draven being a bully, but their comp does scale decently. It just doesn't have a great mid game. But if that Xerath gets 3 items and that Draven manages to get to late game and have a few items on him, they're able to dish out damage with the best of them. I think that they just need to play a patient, steady game right now and try to get Guy Fieri back in this game CS-wise, because right now he is the only person that's really trailing too hard on the team.
Yeah, and if they do try to get back into the game that way, like you said, they've got great damage that they can dish out, but they can't get caught playing reactively. Like we saw with that Rift Herald play, I mean, you had Fish Baby ran middle, dropped the Herald, and then just controlled the pace. Said, you're going to come middle and try to defend it. We're going to take that and then take Dragon. And there was no answer from Slapnut. They just kind of followed along, played their part, and just did exactly what BGM wanted. So they're going to need to take control of these situations, find a pick or two, control these rotations, and then watch out for a Maokai like this.
Maokai's going to attempt the engage once again, snares up the Gragas, the Tarek stun comes out, bullet time finally coming out, that's what they wanted. They get the kill onto the Gragas, but they got Drowsy just, Lissandra comes in trying to get the kills, but he gets deleted as well. And now we have a 5 versus 3 situation in favor of
Yeah, and that's the difference that bullet time can make. That Unbreakable the first time around, he was able to catch him. Second time around, not so lucky. And we see that poke damage coming in from Zoe as well. Just
massive.
This is the problem when
Kha'Zix is attempting to jump in, possibly get the assassination. He's super low. They don't want it. They're gonna back off. They're just gonna take this tower.
They're gonna take this easy tier 2. They could even rotate up top. They have a minion wave. They can take tier 1 top. Dragon's gonna be up shortly. They're gonna be able to gain a lot of map control from this. Just depends how they use it. If they're able to not get too greedy and take too much off the map at once.
Brutal. It's a second Infernal Drake too that's going to be up in 30 seconds. So the Kha'Zix, the later the game goes, the easier it is for Kha'Zix to take anything that he's able to isolate. So that Dragon is almost certainly theirs.
Grog is walking forward. He's worried that they're trying to take this Dragon, but
ooh, Gurk might have
Zoe
bit
gets
off more
caught
than he
out
can
trying to
do here.
ult in, being cheeky. Tarek tries to use the invulnerability, but it comes out too late. Draven sends the ultimate. Maokai's in the middle of the fight now. He's taking tons of damage. And it looks like Jimmy's going to just fall here defending his team from this attack here.
And that's what I'm worried about. They got a little too greedy. They tried to control the map where their whole team wasn't there. And just that quickly, if you have a squishy getting caught out of position.
We might have another steal coming in. Hold on.
Yeah,
they do
not
not have...
Slapnut cannot risk this with the Kha'Zix.
They do have vision on. They know the Kha'Zix is there. They just put the ward up. They know he's there, but he's gonna. He's gonna die anyway. And looks like that's a 2 flashes coming out at the same exact time. Draven finally in auto attack range gets the final hit onto the Kha'Zix, and the Dragon goes over to SNM. So we now have a slightly more even game than we did before. And that's just coming down to mistakes, I think.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the throw zone because we've made it. They're throwing back and forth.
Absolutely, this has gotten pretty intense. And now, if I were the boosted monkey on the Slapnut Magoos here, I would make an immediate call to start securing Baron Vision, because the second their jungler is down, you have an opportunity to really start securing that side of the map for yourself. And up to this point, as Hodor Nation mentioned in our chat here, the Slapnut Magoos really haven't been killing the deep vision game. It's really been the story of the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys up to this point. You can even see up on the bot side jungle there for Boosted Gorilla Monkeys, there are tons of red wards littering that jungle there, giving them all the information they need. So they really need to start taking control of the map where they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, most of the time, what we would talk about going into these next fights is...
We have Maokai engaging onto the Lissandra, knocks her back. He's waiting for the Misfortune to get out. Lissandra's going to use it. She's going to get out, and she's going to escape. Guy Fieri possibly getting stunned up by the Tarek. Kha'Zix jumps in, trying to assassinate the Xerath. He gets knocked back by the Gragas ult. Hyper Isis channels the entire bullet time over the wall into the Braum shield. Jimmy flashes forward, trying to get on in his... aggressive under the tower, taking damage. He tried to get in, assassinate. Simply phenomenal, but he's Maokai. He can't assassinate anyone. He gets killed under the tower.
And funny enough, I was just about to say, normally we would talk about what teams want to do to succeed. I'm more interested, because they're throwing back and forth, on what these teams need to do to not fail. And the biggest thing that I'm looking at with BGM right now is Big Dick Jimmy. He needs to just calm down. He's not an assassin. He's not a carry. He's a tank. He needs to be that buffer for Zoe if they're trying to get onto Zoe, just like Braum's doing. He's protecting their team. He's being a buffer. He's not chasing down these kills. I mean, if you can catch them in a position, great. But it's not out of position if you are on the opposite side of Summoner's Rift from your team.
Of course. Can I point out the best thing about Big Jimmy's build right now, which is that we're 23 minutes in, he has died twice in the last 6 minutes, and he still has an active stopwatch.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about that. We may have a clutch play come out late game, but it just seems like an odd choice now. It's a safe pick for early top laners who think they might get dove, because it gives you, at 6 minutes, that one freebie. And there definitely was a meta for a long time that, jungler would come top gank at a couple of minutes in. It can be risky, but not getting a lot of use out of it this game, so it's questionable at best right now.
I think
not even getting one use out of it.
I think that Boosted Gorilla Monkeys, if they really want to utilize the fact that Jimmy has that stopwatch well, and just the way that his Maokai works, I think that they want Slapnut Magoos to engage onto them in a position where Slapnut Magoos doesn't realize how many of them are there. That's the same case with the bullet time, the same case with the Maokai ult. If they can get Jimmy into a situation where Slapnut Magoos thinks that they've caught him out and he stopwatches just at the right time, they could catch them in a really good choke point. And I think that's what they need to look for to really get the next big objective secure, which I think will probably be this Baron.
Yeah, and that's what you have to kind of reel yourself back. Jimmy's had a couple good plays on that Maokai. Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go.
Draven reveals himself. Entire team gets caught out. Tara coming in with the double man
Wow.
stun. Maokai uses the ult to stun up the Gragas and the Braum in the back
Ult
lane.
time.
Gragas using the ult just to get everyone back. They're going to try to disengage this fight, but Alistar Moody, he's going forward. He's Tarek. He's going to use the invulnerability, and they're going to flash forward with the Zoe. That's right, the Zoe bouncing around finally gets the kill they were looking for. And Xerath possibly caught out of position here. Oh,
On the opposite
we have
end
the
of the fight,
Yu's
though, that
Ghostblade
Draven-
coming out, but Xerath chunks down Piper Isis.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, and Xerath is still alive, but looks like they're possibly going to get the kill down on the Super Phenomenal.
Yeah, they're just chasing him down now.
Chasing him
Waiting.
down, they're going to get the kill. Is he going to? No, he was looking for possibly getting that kill on Piper, but didn't happen.
Well, now you have to wonder, does Boosted Gorilla Monkeys go for this Baron here? Do they risk it with front line being
That's
as
a
low as
risky
they
play.
are?
And they don't have a jungler up right now. I mean, Guy Fieri hasn't been able to secure any of the other neutrals, but without a smite to counter him, I mean, that's a very risky play. I think they're
Yeah.
making a smart move, getting more farm onto their misfortune. But wow, just a lot of errors in that fight. And I think this game's really going to come down to the team that makes the least errors in the last fight's going to win, which may be a funny way to say it, but that's really what it's coming down to. I mean,
Yeah,
that
the wide
misfortune
left
ultimate.
misfortune ultimate
Yeah.
was a perfect example of that. And you know, Piper is a very good player. I don't think that that's the rule. I think that's an exception. But obviously, he's going to be kicking himself a little bit there when he watches this back and sees how that went. But
Well, we've seen it a couple times, though. We've seen the Brahms blocked it. We've seen a great ultimate. We've seen one that kind of went wide left. Now, does the pattern continue in this next fight? Do we have Misfortune just dropping a lot of damage? Or does it turn into, well, whoopsies again?
now, Labyrinth in the chat asked, what is Mao even going to build that stopwatch into? Based on the fact that the Mao has the enchanted boots rune, you can assume that he took the rune that gives him the stopwatch. He didn't actually purchase that item,
Oh, yeah.
so that was just
Maokai
something that
dives
he
in
had
under the Gragas. They knock him back. Guy Fieri tries to get over the wall, but he can't do it. They're going to bring him down. And that's it. The 1-for-0 trade there. And that's
Yeah.
just one of those little mistakes. I think you were right. The winner of this game is really going to be down. It's going to come down to which team can survive long enough to outplay themselves a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, is this a third Infernal Drake coming up here? This is going to be pretty monstrous. And now, Guy Fieri down for another 7 seconds. Infernal Drake is up in 14 seconds. I'd say that all that Boosted Gorilla Monkeys has to do is wait this out. They just have to not take an engage here at all. Just take the dragon and then back out as safely as they can.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the map pressure be built up a little bit more for BGM before going into this. Top is snowballing a little bit, so you've got a wave or two before it really becomes a problem for their top turret. They should hopefully be able to chase this dragon down, take it out pretty quickly, but it's if they don't get too greedy going for
Okay.
kills.
Ooh.
Dives into the Lissandra, bringing him back into the main, but they do secure the
That
dragon.
was a really fun interaction.
Yeah. Maokai uses the ult, though, trying to get in it, but the ult is not long enough. And we've got
Still-
multiple flashes coming out trying to escape this fight, so we have our second Infernal Drake and third dragon going over to BGM.
You have to wonder if Jimmy teleports top here and tries to split and use that
I
pressure
think
that wave's
They need to send the whole team top
Maokai
right
dives
now.
in once again on Guy Fieri, who gets knocked back. They're going to just keep going in ham on him, and he's going to die again after just coming back from base. They're going to go onto this tower now. Braum
And they're
getting
not stopping
slept,
there.
then stunned. They're going to keep going. Braum ults trying to disengage on this. Draven's putting some damage out. Kaz is going to dive into the back lane. They're going to try to get him. Both people get out, but they are going to get this tower for free in the mid lane.
And this actually sets them up very nicely, that tower pressure up top that I was talking about. They're actually timing it very well, whether a kind of happy accident or planned. They can rotate from here, go up top, and if they're quick about it, take
Sandra
that
dives
too.
in. She uses the stun on Piper and just does a little bit of damage, but everyone just wants to back off after getting this inhibitor. It looks like Jimmy's probably going to be the sacrificial lamb as he gets chased down. Braum's probably about to Q him here. He doesn't miss. Lissandra dives in. They're going to get the stun on him, and the kill does go to Draven, who is able to cash in now.
Slapnut Magoos might do well to go straight for Baron here. I think that that's what they may do.
I'm a little surprised that BGM just left him out to dry. I mean, Maokai is a big tank. He's built for extended fights, and if people are using abilities around him, he can
That's
heal
true.
up.
Over there.
A big tank that once again did not use the
They are
stopwatch.
starting the Baron over here. Guy Fieri uses Blast Cone to get in, and they're just going to put tons of damage down on this. Kha'Zix left alone with these major objectives for the third time. Left by his team to just try to maybe steal one of these. Baron's down to a third health, down to a quarter health. They're just going to keep going on it. But they do have Zoe now coming in. They're going to peel off this dragon and try to get the fight here. Cassandra getting
a
slept by
huge,
Zoe. Bullet
huge
time
bullet
comes
time.
out. Baron is just chunking away at everyone, and now that the Baron is half health, BGM is going to come in and just secure this Baron here, but we could possibly see a steal coming in. Guy Fieri looking over the wall. Tarek's going to try to stun him up. Piper gets the kill onto the Braum, and they're still going on this Baron, still active. Sleepy Trouble Bubble coming out. Maokai diving in the back line, just distracting everybody. They can't do anything. Blue team does get the Baron, finally. Guy Fieri tries to flash. He eats the wall. They're going in. He is snared over here. The Draven gets knocked back, gets killed as well. That's a double kill onto Piper, and they're going to be looking at this top tower.
Zoe's securing that long-range snipe on the Xerath. That's the battle of the long-range sniping mages. And
take that back, not the tower, the win.
That Magoos are going to have to evaluate when they look back at this game is that Simply Phenomenal was never in a position to ult this entire game. I haven't seen a Xerath ult come out one time. Maybe I haven't been doing it as
there was one up top on with the Rift Herald, I think, but not high priority.
Braum over here, he is getting taken out. They're going to try to get this final kill in before they go on to the Nexus. And it looks like BGM will be the winners of Game 1.
Get a couple extra kills on Misfortune, stack that KDA. You know, you got to build it up.
Ending the game actually 8-1-5. Excellent score.
Very
in the
good
chat,
game to BGM.
Being super, just talking some shit, looks like.
Yeah, another game where Piper ends with only one death. Very impressive, keeping that pretty superb KDA alive. Obviously, you know, some questionable bullet times here and there, but the result came out at the end. Obviously, everything worked out the way it was supposed to. Now, we can't see damage values or anything here, but I would love for Piper to tell us what the damage values were in that game. That would be great.
They were zoning ults.
Yeah, okay.
You know what, though, to be fair, that's a tough interaction. You know, the Braum shield, yeah, it's about like a 25-second cooldown or so in the early game at least. And, you know, so you want to use the ult with the Misfortune. And, I mean, it's almost one of those things that's hand-built to counter Misfortune ult. So, you know, finding the right timing on that is not always easy.
I love when my field goal kicker kicks wide left just to set an example for my team. That's a really important thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, the more important thing there, though, I mean, the Misfortune definitely coming up with some good plays. We definitely saw the difference when big ultimates were hitting and when they were kind of swinging wide. But I think the big difference there is when Jimmy wasn't caught trying to run, be the Flash, run a mile ahead of his team, the team did well. We saw that at the Baron at the end. They were all fighting together. They were working together, and they were able to get a clean ace to finish the game out. When he's sitting there getting too far ahead of his team running in, you have some of those Misfortune ultimates. You have sometimes Zoe's not able to get in, or especially Kha'Zix isn't able to get in and threaten the back line. And then, yeah, you have this big, meaty tank on Maokai, and he's just getting chipped away at very painfully and very slowly. And that stopwatch still at the end of the game unused.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight here. We've had a great time. That was an awesome game, Game 1. We are just getting into the lobby here, so I'm gonna let Adam and Sam here just take it away with some more post-game analysis as we get set up for this next game.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to what we were talking about pre-game, right? When you look at Slapnut Magoos' comp, you don't really see a clear example of how they're going to take a fight away from anybody else. They could disengage a fight and they could stay as safe as possible and they could split push and they could clear waves and just keep safe. But at what point are they actually going to have to fess up to getting onto somebody personally and taking the game away? And I don't think that their comp really had an option for doing that. Not only that, but like I said, Simply Phenomenal Xerath was never actually in a position where he could effectively ult without the risk of Gerg7's Zoe sniping him on the back line. The second that Xerath ults, he becomes completely immobile. And I think that Gerg was just constantly looking for it. So it put them in a really uncomfortable position where that ult couldn't be used for utility. They couldn't use it to help secure objectives or steal them. The Kha'Zix was slowly ramping up, and that isolate damage is going to make it harder and harder to steal things like dragons and barons away. And yeah, you know, overall, I just think that Boosted Gorilla Monkeys built a comp that had a more clear objective as to how they were going to get that win, and it showed as it came through the mid game, and everybody had a couple items. Still wondering when Jimmy was planning on using that stopwatch, but that's a whole other thing.
He learned the best. He learned from Double Lift. He's going to save the stopwatch for the next game, okay? If Double Lift can save his flash for next Worlds, then Jimmy can save his stopwatch for the next game. But yeah, even beyond the team comp, the thing I'm concerned about is to kind of throw Simply Phenomenal a little bit of a bone here. I mean, we didn't see too many big game-changing Xerath ultimates. We didn't really see any Xerath ultimates to begin with. All of the ability usage on Slapnut Magoo's, it seemed kind of all around the place. I didn't see a lot of big Braum ultimates, any Glacial Fissures coming through. We saw a couple of Gragas ultimates coming through, but they seemed very reactionary. And Frontlash was doing his best to really try to put that tomb onto the Kha'Zix or maybe even the Zoe, grab some priority for the team and make it a little bit easier to get those kills. But it just all was very kind of patchwork put together. It didn't seem, like you said, like they had a very clear engage plan, a disengage plan. And when you have a team with people who are very scrappy, Maokai's a very scrappy tank, the ability to constantly be healing up, he's going to enjoy a long team fight. Zoe, again, short cooldowns. She has the ability to poke constantly, to sleep people, to apply crowd control, and all of those summoner spells coming out. She's going to benefit as well from these longer fights. So what I really want to see from Slapnut coming into this next game is kind of like you said, a bigger plan, some kind of overarching plan, and I want to see them commit to it.
Definitely. I'm currently getting an MVP poll going for this game 1.
Oh, yeah.
And something to look at too, the match history, we can see that on the side of Boosted Gorilla Monkeys, between Gerg7's 22,000 damage and Piper Izz's 24.7 thousand damage, they almost together entirely outdamaged all of Slapnut Magoo's.
Yeah, and that's scary.
Yeah, that's definitely scary, and that ended up being the big factor there. Not to mention the fact that Jimmy and Kha'Zix were throwing on their own sizable damage. So really, really dominant game by those heavy prioritized damage dealers. I think that Slapnut Magoo's is really going to have to go back to the drawing board with their bans and think about what they don't want to see next game.
Yeah. And just to go back to maybe buy you a little bit of time, I don't know how involved it is at that straw poll, but the question that got asked to you earlier, Adam, was, do you think you stick with comfort picks or do you abuse the meta? And I think that's what Slapnut may need to do. I think they picked some of those picks because they seemed like comfort picks. They seemed like what they wanted to do. But when you're just picking a team full of comfort picks, you're relying on just the ability to outplay the enemy team, which isn't bad if you're confident that you'll outplay them. But having some kind of a strategy to fall back on is really going to help.
All right. So for those of you who are just joining us, we are just now getting into picks and bans for Game 2 of Slapnut Magoo's versus Boosted Gorilla Monkeys. BGM did take the first game, so we're seeing some new bans coming out. Zoe does draw out a ban now on the side of Slapnut Magoo's. Maokai draws a ban out, but we're sticking with some of the same bans on Boosted Gorilla Monkeys, the Poppy ban coming out as well. So what do you guys think?
I mean, again, I think the Poppy ban is a strong ban coming out of BGM. They've seen that Frontlash did very well on that Poppy pick last week. That was the game that they won. Good thing to take that away. Keep him on someone who's a little bit squishier. Force him to really make those proactive plays and carry from a damage perspective. I mean, as we saw with the Maokai, kind of grossly out of position at some points in time, but you're allowed to do that when you're a big tank. You can kind of go really, really deep and just hope that your team makes it there. You can't do that if you're playing a damage carry. You have kind of one shot and then you're done.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if on the side of Slapnut Magoo's, the Zoe ban doesn't come out for no reason other than their team just doesn't know how to play against it yet. Nobody does, really. And it's not something that they want to have to worry about coming into that mid lane matchup. And I think Simply Phenomenal really needs to get into a match against something that maybe he's had a little more experience playing against so that he can get his footing again.
And BGM is really, they're not giving Simply Phenomenal a break. The one game that he won as well, I believe, was on that Malzahar. So just taking away any of those picks that they've had success with. Slapnut Magoo's is trying to fire back by taking away 3 of the champions that were played in this last game. But now they give away a strong bottom lane duo of Xayah and Rakan, and I'm actually a little bit more afraid of seeing what that's going to do when we get into the game, because that is a grossly strong bottom lane.
The straw poll is up, by the way, everybody. It's in the chat. I'll go ahead and repost it again. Go ahead and submit your votes for Game 1.
I am happy to see.
Since we're sitting here through this pick and ban, who do you guys vote for player of the game from the last game?
I
real
mean,
quick.
for me, it's got to be fishy or fish baby. It's got that early dragon steel, which may or may not have been that influential. I think getting that ocean drake early to let Maokai farm make up some of that farm deficit and become a threat was important. Stole the Rift Herald as well. We saw that used to great effect. Took that middle tower and secured the second Infernal Drake with it. I mean, just big plays all around from Fish Baby.
Yeah, actually I have to agree. I think that Fish Baby, the way that he played the early game, other than those Krugs, which I'm sure he learned from, was just phenomenal. The way that he stole that dragon out really was a momentum changer. At the time that he stole it, that was when the Sleipnit Magoos had their only lead of the game, actually. They were up in gold. It was looking good for them. And I think that totally took the wind out of their sails and it kind of helped the snowball into a positive direction. And from that point forward, he was constantly looking for plays, constantly making stuff happen for them, controlling vision, picking up kills on the back end, just putting them in a position to win. So even though he may not have done the most damage on the team, he definitely executed that champion the way that he needed to
Oh,
give
so we
his
got
team an
3 mid
advantage.
lane bans coming out. And just a side note, I'm a Cho'Gath main, so I'm super excited to see this Cho'Gath coming out here in the top lane, probably.
I actually think it might be a jungler. Guy Fieri has been playing Cho'Gath jungle, um, and he is subbing in for them. I think maybe they managed to get that for him, and they're flexing it right now. It'll be interesting to see, though. Maybe Frontlash opts for something a little more traditional, something that he could uh, get a little more initiation off with, because last game his Lissandra was only able to do so much once the kills started rolling. Um,
We're about to
I'm
find
gonna
out.
go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and close this poll now. It looks like Fish Baby Bot did come out with the Game One MVP, so
It looks like you're right. I
congratulations
think
to
we
him.
are going to have the Gnar top.
Wow, interesting to see the Ezreal going unbanned this game. Um, and as funny as it would be to see an Ezreal jungle, I think that this might be an Ezreal mid,
Oh, and we do get the
actually.
Kane jungle out for on the side of Boosted Gorilla Monkeys too. So we've got a actually pretty strong team comps coming out from both sides. I think much better on I think both of these teams have better team comps than they both did last game.
Oh, back. Sorry about that. Real life sometimes likes to kick in.
Oh, we need to go ahead and turn off stream and then restart it so that we can have a clear VOD for this coming champ select. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stand by literally for like 5 seconds.